Commander Alex Morrison stood on the bridge of the starship Aurora, watching the stars blur past the viewports. His hands gripped the metal railing as the ship moved through hyperspace at incredible speed. The mission was simple enough. Explore the outer rim sectors and map new star systems for the Empire. It was routine work that he had done dozens of times before. Katie Johnson sat at the pilot controls checking their navigation readings. She was young but skilled, and had been flying ships since she was 16 years old. Her fingers moved quickly over the control panel as she monitored their course through the dangerous hyperspace currents. The Aurora was one of the Empire's newest scout ships built for long-range exploration missions. Ryan Davis worked in the engine room below, keeping their powerful drive systems running smoothly. He was the best engineer Morrison had ever worked with and could fix anything that broke on the ship. His tools were spread across the workbench as he made small adjustments to improve their speed and efficiency. The hyperspace drive was complex technology that required constant attention. Lisa Martinez studied star charts in her small laboratory, trying to predict what they might find in the unexplored regions ahead. She was a xenobiologist who specialized in finding new forms of life on distant planets. Her equipment could detect even the smallest signs of living creatures from millions of miles away. She loved the excitement of discovering something completely new and unknown. The crew had been traveling for 3 weeks through empty space without finding anything interesting. Most of the star systems in this region were dead, or contained only lifeless rocks and gas giants. Morrison was starting to think they would return to Imperial space with nothing to report. The Empire expected results from these expensive exploration missions. Suddenly, alarms began ringing throughout the ship as Katie struggled with the navigation controls. The hyperspace field around them started to flicker and bend in strange ways that Morrison had never seen before. Warning lights flashed red on every control panel as the ship shook violently from unknown forces. "Commander, we have a problem," Katie shouted over the noise of the alarms. "Something is pulling us out of hyperspace, but I cannot identify the source. The gravitational readings are off the charts and getting stronger every second." Morrison pressed the communication button to speak with his engineer. "Ryan, what is happening down there? Can you stabilize our position?" Ryan's voice came through the speakers, sounding worried and confused. "The hyperspace drive is working perfectly, but we are being pulled by some kind of massive gravitational anomaly. I have never seen anything like this before, Commander. The forces acting on us are beyond anything in our databases." Lisa ran onto the bridge carrying her detection equipment with excitement in her eyes. "Commander, you need to see these readings immediately. Whatever is pulling us is not natural. The energy signatures are completely artificial and incredibly advanced. Someone or something built whatever is out there." The ship suddenly dropped out of hyperspace with a violent jolt that threw everyone against the walls. Morrison picked himself up from the floor and looked at the main view screen. What he saw made his heart stop beating for several seconds. They were in a star system with 7 planets orbiting a dying red giant star. But that was not the shocking part. The 4th planet from the star was glowing with millions of lights across its surface. Massive cities stretched across entire continents connected by streams of energy that pulsed like living arteries. Space stations floated in orbit around the planet connected by bridges of pure light. "This is impossible," Morrison whispered as he stared at the incredible sight. "There are no human settlements in this region of space. The Empire has detailed records of every human colony and outpost. We would know if something like this existed." Katie worked frantically at her controls trying to make sense of their situation. "Commander, I am picking up radio transmissions from the planet. The signals are strong and complex, but the languages sound familiar. I think I am hearing English and Spanish mixed with dialects I do not recognize." Lisa attached her equipment to the ship's main sensors and ran detailed scans of the mysterious planet. Her readings showed clear signs of human life signatures along with several alien species she could not identify. The population numbers were staggering, with over 200 million intelligent beings living on the surface. "Commander, this planet should not exist according to Imperial records," Lisa said with amazement in her voice. "But the biosignatures are definitely human. These people have been here for a very long time based on the size and complexity of their cities." Ryan joined them on the bridge after securing the engine room. His face was pale with shock as he looked at the readings from their sensors. "Commander, their technology levels are beyond anything the Empire possesses. The energy output from that planet exceeds our most advanced worlds by a factor of 10. Morrison felt his world turning upside down as he tried to understand what they had discovered. The Empire had ruled known space for over 2,000 years with detailed records of every human settlement. Earth had been destroyed 300 years ago during the Great Purge, and all surviving humans were relocated to designated sectors under strict Imperial oversight. No human civilization should exist outside Imperial space, especially not one this advanced and powerful. The implications were staggering, and could shake the foundations of everything the Empire claimed about human history and capabilities. "Commander, what are your orders?" Katie asked as she watched several ships approaching from the planet. The vessels moved with grace and speed that surpassed anything in the Imperial fleet. Their designs were elegant and organic, looking more like living creatures than mechanical constructs. Morrison knew that whatever decision he made in the next few minutes would change everything. He could contact Imperial Command immediately and report their discovery. The Empire would send massive fleets to investigate, and likely conquer or destroy whatever they found here. Or he could try to make contact with these mysterious humans and learn their story before involving the Empire. His curiosity as an explorer battled with his duty as an Imperial officer. The choice would determine not only his fate, but possibly the fate of every human in the galaxy. The approaching ships took positions around the Aurora, but showed no hostile intentions. They seemed to be waiting for some kind of response or communication. Morrison realized that these people already knew about his ship and crew. Their technology had probably detected the Aurora long before it dropped out of hyperspace. He walked to the communication console and placed his hand on the activation switch. Whatever happened next would begin a chain of events that would reshape galactic civilization. Commander Alex Morrison took a deep breath and prepared to make first contact with the impossible human civilization that thrived in the darkness beyond Imperial space. Morrison pressed the communication button and spoke into the microphone with a steady voice. "This is Commander Alex Morrison of the Terran scout ship Aurora, representing the Galactic Empire. We come in peace and request permission to communicate with your leadership." The response came immediately in clear English with a slight accent that sounded both familiar and strange. "Commander Morrison, welcome to Haven System. This is Captain Nina Brooks of the Haven Defense Force. We have been monitoring your approach and mean you no harm. Please prepare for escort to our orbital station." Katie looked at Morrison with surprise written across her face. "Commander, they knew we were coming before we even dropped out of hyperspace. Their detection systems must be incredibly advanced to track ships through hyperspace itself." The alien ships moved closer to the Aurora with smooth fluid, motions that defied everything Morrison knew about spacecraft engineering. Their hulls seemed to shift and change color like living skin, while energy fields surrounded them like protective auras. These were not machines built in factories, but something entirely different. "Commander, I am reading massive energy signatures from those escort ships," Ryan reported from his station, "but I cannot identify the power source or propulsion system. They are using technology that is completely unknown to Imperial science." Lisa watched her scanners with growing amazement as more detailed readings came in from the planet below. "Commander, the life signs are definitely human, but there are also dozens of alien species living together in the same cities. I have never seen anything like this level of peaceful integration between different races." The escort ships guided the Aurora toward a massive space station that orbited the fourth planet. As they approached, Morrison could see that the station was not built from metal and composite materials like Imperial constructions. Instead, it appeared to be grown from some kind of living crystal that pulsed with internal light. "Aurora, this is Haven Station requesting permission to bring you into our docking bay," came the voice of Captain Brooks. "Our medical teams are standing by to ensure your crew's safety during the transfer process." Morrison hesitated for a moment before responding. "Permission granted, Haven Station. We appreciate your hospitality and look forward to meeting your people." The docking process was unlike anything the crew had ever experienced. Instead of mechanical clamps and airlocks, the station seemed to reach out and gently embrace their ship with tendrils of energy that formed a perfect seal. The Aurora was drawn into a vast chamber that filled with breathable atmosphere automatically. Captain Nina Brooks met them at the airlock wearing clothing that seemed to be made from the same material as the space station itself. She was tall with dark hair and intelligent eyes that studied Morrison and his crew with obvious curiosity. Her uniform bore no rank insignia, but carried symbols that seemed to shift and change as they watched. "Welcome aboard Haven Station, Commander Morrison," Nina said, extending her hand in greeting. "I apologize for the dramatic nature of your arrival, but our gravitational systems sometimes have unexpected effects on hyperspace. Navigation. Behind Nina stood a man in his 50s with gray hair and kind eyes who introduced himself as Dr. Marcus Cole. I serve as our chief diplomat and historian commander. I imagine you have many questions about what you have discovered here. Morrison shook hands with both officers, noting that they seemed completely human despite the advanced technology surrounding them. Dr. Cole, we are confused about how a human civilization of this size and sophistication could exist without Imperial knowledge. Our records show no authorized colonies in this region. Dr. Cole smiled sadly and gestured for them to follow him through corridors that seemed to grow and reshape themselves as they walked. Commander, your records are incomplete because we were never authorized. Our ancestors left Earth in secret just before its destruction 300 years ago. They entered a vast observation chamber with transparent walls that provided a stunning view of the planet below. Cities stretched across continents connected by streams of light that pulsed with constant traffic. Morrison could see massive towers that reached up through the atmosphere, while others descended deep into the planetary crust. This is impossible, Lisa whispered as she stared at the incredible sight. The energy requirements for a civilization this size would require hundreds of fusion reactors. But I am not detecting any nuclear signatures at all. Dr. Cole touched a control surface, and holographic displays appeared showing the planet's infrastructure in detail. We learned long ago to work with natural forces rather than against them. Our cities grow like living organisms, using energy drawn directly from dimensional barriers between space and time. Ryan studied the technical displays with the fascination of an engineer seeing something completely new. Dr. Cole, how did you develop technology this advanced? The Empire has been working on dimensional energy for centuries without success. Time and freedom, Commander, Dr. Cole replied. When humans are not restricted by Imperial regulations and fear, they can accomplish incredible things. We have had 3 centuries to develop our science and technology without interference or oversight. Katie noticed movement in the space around the planet and pointed toward massive structures that seemed to appear and disappear. What are those ships doing? They keep vanishing and reappearing in different locations. Captain Brooks joined the conversation with obvious pride in her voice. Those are our deep space vessels using phase technology. They can shift in and out of normal space-time, making them invisible to most detection systems, including Imperial sensors. Morrison felt his understanding of the galaxy shifting as he absorbed the implications of what he was seeing. Dr. Cole, you are telling us that humans have been living and advancing in secret for 300 years, while the Empire believed we were all accounted for? Not just living, Commander, but thriving beyond anything we could have achieved under Imperial rule, Dr. Cole said. Haven is just one of 12 hidden colonies scattered throughout unexplored space. Together we have built a civilization that proves what humans can accomplish when they are truly free. Lisa ran her portable scanners over the walls and equipment around them, getting readings that made no sense, according to Imperial science. Commander, this technology is organic and mechanical at the same time. They have somehow merged living systems with advanced engineering in ways we never imagined possible. Dr. Cole led them to another chamber where they could see alien beings working alongside humans in complete harmony. The creatures came in dozens of different forms, but all seemed to be contributing to the same goals and projects. There was no sign of the tension and conflict that existed between species in Imperial space. Commander Morrison, you and your crew are the first Imperial citizens to discover our existence, Dr. Cole said seriously. This moment will change everything for both our peoples. The question now is what you plan to do with this knowledge. Dr. Cole led Morrison and his crew through a series of corridors that seemed to pulse with living energy. The walls displayed moving images of other human colonies scattered across the galaxy, showing cities that defied everything they thought they knew about human capabilities. Each colony appeared to specialize in different aspects of advancement and development. Commander, what you are seeing is the Haven Network, Dr. Cole explained as they walked. 12 hidden colonies that have been working together for 3 centuries to push the boundaries of what humans can achieve. We share knowledge and resources freely without the restrictions that limit progress in Imperial space. Ryan stopped in front of a display showing a massive space station surrounded by ships that seemed to bend and twist through dimensions. Dr. Cole, what is that facility? Those vessels are moving in ways that should be physically impossible according to everything I know about engineering. That is New Geneva, our primary research and development colony, Dr. Cole replied with obvious admiration. Their scientists have mastered faster than light communication and matter manipulation at the quantum level. They can move objects through space by folding the fabric of reality itself. Lisa studied images of another colony where humans worked alongside creatures that looked like living crystals and beings made of pure energy. The cooperation between such different forms of life was something she had only dreamed about in her xenobiological studies. How did you establish relationships with so many alien species? Captain Brooks answered with enthusiasm in her voice. We approach them as equals seeking partnership rather than conquest. When you offer friendship instead of domination, most intelligent species respond with curiosity and cooperation. We have learned incredible things from our alien allies. They entered a vast chamber where holographic representations of leaders from all 12 colonies were gathered for what appeared to be a regular conference. Morrison could see humans of all ages and backgrounds, discussing complex scientific and social issues with passion and intelligence that reminded him of the old stories about Earth. Before the Empire, a woman with silver hair and bright eyes noticed their arrival and addressed Morrison directly. Commander, I am Dr. Elena Rodriguez from Prometheus Station. We specialize in advanced physics and dimensional research. Your arrival here represents a significant development that we have been preparing for. Morrison felt overwhelmed by the scope of what he was discovering. Dr. Rodriguez, you speak as if you expected us to find you eventually. How could you predict something like this would happen? Because we have been watching the Empire for decades, Commander, Dr. Rodriguez replied. We monitor your communications and track your fleet movements. We know about the growing unrest in your territories and the increasing dissatisfaction among human populations under Imperial rule. Another colony leader joined the conversation, introducing himself as Daniel Peterson from the agricultural world of Eden. His colony had developed farming techniques that could feed billions of people using minimal resources while actually improving planetary environments instead of destroying them. Commander Peterson, how many people live in the Haven network? Katie asked as she studied the population figures displayed around them. Nearly 500 million humans across all 12 colonies, plus about 50 million alien allies who have chosen to live and work with us, Peterson answered. We are growing rapidly as more refugees escape Imperial oppression and join our communities. Dr. Cole activated another display, showing detailed intelligence about Imperial military positions and political structures. Morrison was shocked to see how much these hidden humans knew about Empire operations, including classified information that should have been impossible to obtain. How do you gather this intelligence without being detected? Morrison asked with growing concern about the security implications. We have people throughout Imperial Space, Commander, Dr. Cole said quietly. Humans who appear to be loyal citizens but secretly report to us about conditions and developments. Many of your own people are ready for change if given the opportunity. Lisa examined data about the network's medical and biological advances, discovering that they had eliminated diseases that still plagued Imperial worlds. Their hospitals could regenerate lost limbs and organs while their scientists had extended human lifespan to over 200 years through genetic enhancement. This is incredible, Lisa said with wonder in her voice. You have solved problems that Imperial researchers said were impossible. How did you achieve such rapid advancement? A young man named Jake Miller appeared in the holographic display, introducing himself as a former Imperial officer who had defected to the network 5 years earlier. Dr. Martinez, when humans are free to pursue knowledge without political restrictions or resource limitations, they can accomplish anything. We do not waste time on bureaucracy and territorial disputes. Ryan discovered that the network had developed manufacturing systems that could create complex devices at the molecular level. Their factories were more like biological organisms that grew products instead of assembling them from separate parts. The efficiency and capabilities far exceeded anything in Imperial space. Commander Miller, why did you leave Imperial service to join these people? Morrison asked, feeling conflicted about his own loyalties. Because I wanted to be part of something that builds rather than controls, Jake replied. The Empire maintains order through fear and restrictions. The network achieves stability through cooperation and shared purpose. The difference in quality of life and personal fulfillment is extraordinary. Dr. Cole showed them records of rescue operations where network Ships had secretly evacuated human settlements that faced persecution or destruction by Imperial forces. Thousands of families had been relocated to network colonies where they could live freely, without constant surveillance and regulation. "We do not kidnap people, Commander," Dr. Cole explained. "We offer choices that the Empire does not provide." When humans learn that alternatives exist, many choose freedom over security. Captain Brooks led them to an observation deck where they could see the planet Haven in all its glory. The cities below pulsed with life and energy, while streams of ships moved between orbital facilities in patterns that suggested incredible organization and efficiency. Everything worked together like parts of a vast living organism. "Commander Morrison, you and your crew now know the truth about human potential," Brooks said seriously. "We have proven that humans can thrive and advance when given the freedom to pursue their own destiny. The question is what you will do with this knowledge." Morrison looked at his crew members, seeing the same amazement and internal conflict reflected in their faces. They had discovered something that challenged everything they believed about human capabilities and imperial necessity. The implications were staggering, and the choices ahead would affect not just their own lives, but potentially the future of humanity itself. News of the Aurora's discovery spread through the Haven network faster than Morrison could have imagined. Within hours, holographic representatives from all 12 colonies had assembled for an emergency council session. The air in the great chamber buzzed with tension and excitement as leaders debated the most important decision. In their 300-year history, Daniel Peterson from Eden colony stood at the center of the gathering, arguing passionately for maintaining their policy of secrecy. "We have survived and thrived precisely because the Empire does not know we exist. Revealing ourselves now could destroy everything our ancestors worked to build. The Empire has destroyed human settlements before, and they will not hesitate to do it again." His words carried weight among the older colony, leaders who remembered stories of Imperial brutality during the Great Purge. Morrison watched from the observation area as heated discussions erupted across the chamber. The fate of millions of people hung in the balance of this single conversation. Dr. Elena Rodriguez from Prometheus Station stepped forward with data displays showing Imperial activities across known space. "Daniel, I understand your concerns, but our intelligence shows that the Empire is beginning to fragment from within. Multiple species are planning rebellions, and even some human sectors are showing signs of organized resistance." She activated holographic maps that revealed the true scope of Imperial problems. Entire star systems had gone silent in recent months, while others reported increasing conflicts between different species under Imperial rule. The once mighty Empire was struggling to maintain control over its vast territories. "The Empire is weaker now than it has been in centuries," Dr. Rodriguez continued. "If we wait much longer, we may miss our opportunity to help liberate not just humans, but all the oppressed species under Imperial control. We have the technology and allies to make a real difference." Jake Miller joined the debate from his position as a former Imperial officer. "Commanders, I have seen the Empire from the inside. Their military is stretched thin across too many fronts, while their political leadership grows more desperate every year. They rule through fear, because they have lost the ability to inspire loyalty." Morrison found himself caught between admiration for what the network had accomplished and loyalty to the only system he had ever known. His crew members were experiencing similar conflicts as they witnessed freedoms and technologies that far exceeded anything available in Imperial space. Katie approached Morrison during a break in the council session with confusion written across her face. "Commander, I have been thinking about my family history. My grandmother always told strange stories about relatives who disappeared during the early days after Earth's destruction. I thought they were just old tales, but what if some of them made it to these colonies?" Lisa had been running genetic analysis on tissue samples from network citizens with Dr. Cole's permission. Her results showed markers that connected many Haven residents to human populations throughout Imperial space. "Commander, these people are not strangers. They are our cousins and distant relatives who took a different path 3 centuries ago." Ryan spent hours studying network engineering with growing amazement at their capabilities. Their manufacturing systems could create materials that were stronger than anything in Imperial space, while their energy production methods were completely clean and sustainable. "Commander, their technology is not just advanced, it is fundamentally better in every way. The council debates continued for days as representatives argued about timing strategy and risks. Some colonies favored gradual revelation to selected human populations, while others pushed for immediate and dramatic disclosure to the entire galaxy. The disagreement threatened to split the network at its most critical moment. Dr. Marcus Cole proposed a compromise solution that began to gain support among the moderate factions. We start with carefully chosen Imperial settlements that our intelligence shows are most likely to respond positively. We offer them proof of our existence and the choice to join us or remain under Imperial rule. General Laura Stone from Haven's Defense Forces presented detailed plans for protecting network colonies during any Imperial retaliation. Their defensive systems could hide entire star systems from detection, while their mobile forces could strike Imperial targets with weapons the Empire had never seen before. We are not helpless victims waiting for Imperial mercy, General Stone declared firmly. 3 centuries of preparation have given us advantages that the Empire cannot match. If they choose war over negotiation, we are ready to defend ourselves and our allies. Morrison watched as the debate reached its climax with passionate speeches from leaders across the network. The decision would affect not just their own people, but potentially reshape galactic civilization itself. The weight of history pressed down on everyone in the chamber. A young woman named Sarah Kim from New Terra Colony stood to address the council with quiet determination in her voice. We have spent 300 years proving that humans can build something better than the Empire offers. Now we have the chance to share that gift with our people who remain in bondage. How can we choose safety over freedom for millions of our own species? Her words struck deep into the hearts of everyone present, including Morrison and his crew. They had seen what humans could accomplish when freed from Imperial restrictions and regulations. The contrast between network prosperity and Imperial oppression was impossible to ignore. The final vote came after hours of emotional debate. Colony after colony declared their support for gradual revelation, starting with the most promising Imperial settlements. The network would begin Operation Renaissance within 30 days, using their advanced communication systems to contact human populations across Imperial space. Dr. Cole approached Morrison as the council session ended with a serious expression on his weathered face. Commander Morrison, you and your crew now face the most important decision of your lives. You can return to Imperial space and report our existence potentially dooming millions of people to continued oppression. Or you can join us and help liberate your own species from 3 centuries of Imperial control. Morrison looked at his crew, seeing uncertainty, fear, and hope mixed together in their faces. Katie had discovered possible family connections to the network, while Lisa and Ryan had witnessed scientific advances that made Imperial technology seem primitive. They were no longer just Imperial officers on a routine mission, but humans who had seen what their species could truly accomplish. Dr. Cole, what happens if we choose to join you? Morrison asked, knowing that the answer would determine not just his own future, but the fate of human civilization itself. Morrison stood silent for several minutes, weighing the most difficult decision of his life. His crew watched him with anxious faces, knowing that whatever choice he made would change their destinies forever. The comfortable certainty of Imperial service battled against the incredible possibilities he had witnessed in the Haven network. Katie broke the silence first with determination in her young voice. Commander, I have made my choice. These people represent everything I hoped humanity could become. I want to help them reach our people in Imperial space and offer them the same opportunities we have seen here. Lisa nodded in agreement as she studied the genetic data on her portable scanner. Commander, the biological advances alone could save millions of lives throughout the galaxy. We have a moral obligation to share this knowledge with human settlements that are still struggling with diseases that network medicine eliminated centuries ago. Ryan had been quiet during the council debates, but now spoke with the conviction of an engineer who had seen better solutions to every problem. Commander, their technology is not just superior to Imperial systems. It represents a completely different approach to living with the universe instead of trying to dominate it. Morrison looked around the chamber at the network leaders who waited patiently for his response. These people had risked everything to preserve human freedom and advancement, while the Empire had settled for control and stagnation. The contrast was impossible to ignore. Dr. Cole, my crew and I choose to join the Haven network, Morrison announced firmly. We pledge our ship, our knowledge, and our lives to help liberate humanity from Imperial oppression. The chamber erupted in cheers and applause as network citizens celebrated the decision. Dr. Cole shook Morrison's hand with tears of joy in his eyes while Captain Brooks began making plans to integrate the Aurora into their defensive fleet. Operation Renaissance began within weeks of Morrison's commitment to the network cause. Using their advanced stealth technology, network ships approached Imperial settlements throughout known space, carrying messages of hope and freedom. The broadcasts were carefully targeted to human populations that intelligence reports suggested were most likely to respond positively. The first contact came from a mining colony in the Centauri sector where workers had been protesting Imperial quotas and restrictions for months. Colony Supervisor Ben Carter received a secret transmission offering evidence of human advancement beyond Imperial capabilities and the opportunity to join a better civilization. Katie worked with network communication specialists to establish secure channels between hidden colonies and interested Imperial settlements. Her piloting skills were essential for the dangerous missions that brought supplies and equipment to humans ready to escape Imperial control. The response exceeded all expectations as thousands of humans across dozens of Imperial sectors answered the secret transmissions. Mining colonies, agricultural settlements, and even some military outposts reported growing dissatisfaction with Imperial policies and interest in network alternatives. Jake Miller led covert rescue operations using ships that could phase in and out of normal space-time. His teams extracted entire communities from Imperial space with such precision that authorities often did not realize populations had disappeared until weeks after the evacuations. Lisa documented the integration process as former Imperial citizens adapted to network life with amazement and gratitude. Families that had struggled under Imperial restrictions flourished in colonies where human potential was encouraged rather than limited by bureaucratic regulations. Ryan helped establish manufacturing facilities that could produce network technology for the growing population of refugees. The organic construction methods allowed rapid expansion of cities and infrastructure to accommodate the steady stream of new arrivals seeking freedom. The Empire finally discovered evidence of the network after 6 months of successful rescue operations. Imperial Intelligence Director Varric launched massive investigations trying to identify the source of the disappearing populations and mysterious transmissions. Morrison found himself promoted to Admiral of the Haven Defense Fleet as the network prepared for inevitable Imperial retaliation. His knowledge of Imperial tactics and weaknesses proved invaluable in developing defensive strategies for the hidden colonies. The confrontation came when Imperial forces finally tracked a network rescue ship to the edge of Haven system. Admiral Morrison watched from the command center as 3 Imperial battlecruisers dropped out of hyperspace, demanding surrender and immediate evacuation of all human settlements. Instead of engaging in traditional space combat, the network chose to demonstrate their technological superiority. Through peaceful means, Dr. Cole activated a galaxy-wide broadcast system that reached every inhabited world in known space simultaneously. The transmission showed the incredible cities of Haven with their millions of happy citizens living in harmony with dozens of alien species. Network scientists demonstrated technologies that solved problems the Empire claimed were impossible, while doctors showed medical advances that could eliminate suffering throughout the galaxy. People of the galaxy, Dr. Cole announced to billions of viewers. For 300 years, humans have been developing in secret, proving that intelligent species can thrive through cooperation rather than domination. We invite all beings who seek freedom and advancement to join us in building a better future. The broadcast included detailed evidence of Imperial oppression and the alternatives available through network membership. Species throughout the galaxy watched in amazement as humans demonstrated what they had accomplished when freed from authoritarian control. The Imperial battlecruisers found themselves facing not military resistance but a fundamental crisis of legitimacy. Their crews watched the broadcast with growing wonder, while populations on Imperial worlds began demanding explanations about the hidden human civilization. Rebellions erupted across Imperial space as species that had suffered under authoritarian rule saw proof that better alternatives existed. The network offered support and alliance to any group seeking independence from Imperial Oppression. Within months, the Empire began fragmenting as entire sectors declared independence and requested network assistance in establishing new governments based on cooperation and mutual benefit. The rigid hierarchies that had maintained order for 2 millennia collapsed under the weight of their own contradictions. Admiral Morrison stood on the observation deck of Haven Station watching as former Imperial ships arrived seeking asylum and partnership. The Aurora of his old scout vessel had become the flagship of a growing fleet, dedicated to liberation rather than conquest. Dr. Cole joined him at the viewing port with satisfaction evident in his weathered features. Admiral Morrison, you and your crew helped change the course of galactic history. Humanity has finally taken its rightful place not as conquerors but as liberators offering hope to all intelligent species. Morrison smiled as he watched the peaceful integration of former enemies into the expanding network civilization. The Empire had discovered humans alive and thriving in their lost civilization, but instead of conquest, they had found the seeds of their own transformation into something better.